My husband's religious parents thought my dinner invitation was too stern, and they asked me to write another one in my job's professional tone. So I did exactly that, copied and pasted what ChatGPT gave me. I sent my in-laws an invitation for dinner. We stupidly thought it would be nice if it came from me, so I wrote, "Religious greetings. Husband's name, was thinking of inviting you next weekend, God willing. Would that work for you or do you have other plans?" 10 minutes later, Bill called my husband to tell him they wished the message had been longer and warmer. Husband agreed to let me know for next time. The next day, Phil called again over something else. Husband used the opportunity to point out they still hadn't replied to my message. Phil told him they would not be replying to me until I fixed it and made it warmer. They also pointed out that at my job, I have to adopt a certain tone to be perceived as professional. This is the same in a family context. Since they wanted me to adopt the same strategies I use at work, I figured I'd use ChatGPT to get frustrating tasks out of the way as quickly as possible. I showed the AI my original message, told it my in-laws' complaints and told it to rewrite it super warmly as if I were the perfect, insert ethnicity, daughter-in-law. It came up with an absolutely ridiculous message with emojis everywhere. I copy-pasted and sent right after my left on read, invitation. Husband sent it with me and is okay with it. I first suggested to him I could write a genuine message about my grievances here, but he pointed out I did so over another petty complaint months ago and it led nowhere. We decided to go with a ChatGPT message minus some of the emojis. Phil works with AI. I have no doubt he can tell this is ChatGPT. Even Mill will know there is no way either husband or I wrote this. I do kind of feel a bit guilty about the passive aggressiveness of our response. There's a very obvious cultural context here. I understand my culture seems cold to them the way theirs seems over the top to me. But as God is my witness, I have unsuccessfully tried everything else to communicate with them. They have ignored the new message. No phone call to husband. I don't want this to go nuclear, I just want them to say sure, see you next week and pretend to tolerate my cooking. Am I a jerk? Update. Mill did reply to my second message. Religious greetings, thank you for the invitation, we will get together soon, God willing. I did not follow up and let the invitation expire. They did not come. A bit after that, we had a large family gathering at their place. My husband's grandparents, his parents, their kids and grandkids. I kept the interaction with Phil and Mill to a minimum. I was polite, I greeted them, but nothing more. I felt I had made enough efforts trying to connect with people that did not respect me enough to reply to a text message. In the past, they have always used my lack of relationships with the rest of the family against me. I was not close enough to Sil or I did not spend enough time with Mill and it was proof I was not making any effort to integrate into the family. I have tried to explain their family is very large and it takes a while to build a relationship with tens of people who are already close-knit, but you might as well try and convince a mountain to move to a different spot. Well, not this time. The younger kids have always been easy. They're not as set in their ways and they accepted me very quickly. I spent hours with kids playing all over me. The babies used to cry when they saw me, they hate strangers. Not only have they stopped crying, they smile and play with me now. My oldest Sil also married outside of their culture, so she's always been the most empathetic since she knows what her husband went through with them. My other Sil is a lot more like Mill. Hard one to win over. But even she softened and we are now in a place where we get along. The final blow though were my husband's grandparents, Phil's parents. They are very conservative and would have clearly preferred if he had married within the community. The grandmother barely speaks a word of English. I'm not what they wanted. But even they have moved on. They hugged me and they were clearly happy to see me. Between the fact I now feel comfortable with everyone else and the fact I stopped even trying with them, I guess it dawned on them that my problem was not their family, it was them. It might seem like a small thing to the readers here, but such a level of actual awareness coming from them is nothing less than a miracle of God in my eyes. After the gathering, they called husband again and asked him if I hated them and still held a grudge for the fact they opposed us getting married for a very long time. Husband in his infinite patience argued for hours with them and tried to explain that when you treat people unkindly, they do not tend to love you back. He pushed back on the idea I was punishing them and reminded them I have tried very hard for months to get along with them and all I got for it was criticism and ghosting. Whatever else was said during that fight, it seems to have had some sort of effect. They have stopped calling husband once a week to give a detailed report of everything I have done wrong during the last 7 days. While they still cannot accept to see me wearing pants around them, they seem to have given up on trying to convince us I should never wear pants outside my own house. Again, the 21st century reader may be confused by how this constitutes progress. I'm grading on a curve here. And for her credit, I think Mill has taken the mental load to try and fix the relationship. She's been the one texting me, giving news and inviting us to a restaurant, all the emotional labor that used to be mine. Phil is still a piece of work but since his parents now like me, not much he can say or do. Ironically, his culture is now working for me.